would dramatically transform the character of the race. A race which has been fascinating for every turn of the wheel so far. David Coulthard cannot do anything about Jean Alesi. The V12 Scarlet Ferrari stays ahead of the Williams, and that is a testimony to how well the Ferrari people at Maranello have been working. They have just quietly made this car better and better in terms of handling. They've made the engine better and better in terms of not just power, but in terms of reliability and drivability. There's no point in having an engine with a lot of power if you have to rev its head off in order to get that power. You want an engine which gives you a power all the way through the scale. Lap 34, and as Alesi fourth with Coulthard fifth, turns into Copse. Damon Hill has just done the fastest lap of the race. He is responding with his fuel load to Michael Schumacher. The gap is 21 seconds.
And if Damon Hill's going to win this race, he's going to need to set a few more fastest laps. I think, yeah, we're now on lap 33. Hill has got a 21-second lead over Michael Schumacher. But I'm pretty sure that Hill's going to need to come in for his second stop. I suspect it'll be round about lap 40 probably. That's another 7 laps away. And ideally, Hill needs to get about 30 seconds ahead, 28, 30 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher, so that maybe even more than that, 32 seconds, I should say, to be sure that when Hill comes in for a pit stop, he can come out ahead of Michael Schumacher. And whether or not Hill can pull out enough of a lead now to emerge from his second pit stop, don't forget Schumacher will not need to stop again. That'll be round about lap 37, 38, 39. That's when we're going to expect to see Hill's second stop. And if Hill does not Hill does not manage to pull out that margin of at least, I would say, 27, 28 seconds in the next 5 laps, I would think he's destined to pull out of the pits behind Michael Schumacher, and that could be absolutely crucial to the result of this race.
It could be goodbye mum as far as victory is concerned for Damon Hill, because Michael Schumacher in the lead after what happened to him last year in the British Grand Prix is not going to yield easily. But that's all in the future. Mum is here, incidentally, Betty Hill. Her great husband, Graham Hill, twice a world champion, never a winner of the British Grand Prix, which Damon Hill, her son, was last year. And still David Coulthard is stuck behind Alesi, remorselessly holding his line, maintaining his speed. Those are very interesting figures. You see Damon Hill again astonishingly consistent. And we're with Coulthard again turning into Stowe Corner, slowing down from 180 miles an hour in just a few metres, and I mean a few metres, to 70 miles an hour.
Well, the Hill-Schumacher battle is the one right at the front, but there's also a very good battle shaping up for third place, because we've got Johnny Herbert, who's 6.3 seconds ahead of Alesi, with, of course, Coulthard right behind Alesi. But the exciting news is that Alesi is closing that gap on Johnny Herbert. He's been taking half a second a lap off over the last 4 laps, and so and the other thing is that all of these 3 cars, Herbert, Alesi and Coulthard, are all on 2-stop strategies. Therefore they are all going to have to make a stop in the next 5 laps, and that again is going to be absolutely vital in terms of who comes out on top. And Williams are going to be racking their brains to try and work out how can they get David Coulthard ahead of Jean Alesi. Their chance to do it has got to come from the pit stops, I believe, because it really is not happening on the track.
How is Damon Hill here doing in terms of building that 28-second necessary gap between himself and Michael Schumacher to ensure the continuation of his lead? Not very well, I have to tell you. The gap is 22 seconds now, and it's not going to be very much longer before he comes in and lets Schumacher retake the lead. Damon Hill led for a long, long time, 20-second gap. Lost the lead to Schumacher, regained it, and is there now. And that is Schumacher being held up by Jean-Christophe Bouillon. And any holding up would be very gratefully accepted by Damon Hill and the Williams team. But Schumacher picks his moment carefully. Jean-Christophe Bouillon is a pretty experienced driver in terms of Formula 3000 and the other categories, and he goes through. And Damon Hill on lap 37 has gone faster again. Another new fastest lap for Damon, who knows exactly what the score is. There it is, 1 minute 30 seconds. The next fastest lap is going to be the first one of the race in under 1:30 as Schumacher goes across the line, and the gap has increased now. It's 23.9 seconds. But Hill must be coming in just in the next few laps. He's on his 37th lap now.
Well, let's certainly hope for Damon Hill's sake that he's not going to come in the next 2 or 3 laps, because if he can get as far as around about lap 40, lap 42, he might have had a chance to pull out enough of a margin, and this is what he will be determined to do at this stage. There's the man Damon Hill, just to try and stay out a bit longer, and that's the kind of thing that Benetton with Michael Schumacher would do, to pull out the gap, so when he does come in for this second stop, he can get out again ahead of Michael Schumacher. And that gap between Herbert and Alesi is closing. Alesi is now within 5.7 seconds. He's taken another couple of tenths of a second off Johnny Herbert. And again, just to remind you, we've got to look for these pit stops for Johnny Herbert, Alesi, Coulthard and Damon Hill over the next 5 laps.
And the longer Damon Hill can stay out, the less fuel he will have to take on. And that means to say the shorter period he will be in the pits. It's all very, very interesting and exciting indeed. We're on lap 38 now. Hill is 24 seconds ahead of Schumacher, who is 13 seconds ahead of his teammate Johnny Herbert. Benetton's second and third. That's good from their point of view. 10 Constructors' World Championship points. And here is Damon Hill. That's the inset of him. There you see his hands in the cockpit.
And this is really worth watching because Damon Hill is piling on the pressure. Look at that, 29.7. He knows that the British Grand Prix depends on his ability over the next 5 laps to pull out whatever he can to extend that critical margin over Michael Schumacher. He's not doing a bad job. It's up to 25 seconds. Another 4 or 5 laps of that kind of level of improvement, and he's going to be standing a very good chance. And let's see, now he comes up. We're looking at him trying to get by Moreno. Look at the relative speed there of the Williams car compared. That's the best car in Formula 1 arguably to the worst car in Formula 1. And he comes in, this is 150 miles an hour through that bridge corner, down on the brakes, flipping his left fingers to change down to second gear, through the second of these 2 left-handers there, that's the Priory, up third gear, this is 80 miles an hour, Luffield 1, now coming to Luffield 2, and then he pulls onto the main start-finish straight, and you can see again his left hand there, that will be used for down changing, and his right hand at the moment will be flipping away at that steering wheel operated gear change mechanism as he comes up to 180 miles an hour down to third gear for Copse Corner.
Now he is on his 39th lap, and Michael Schumacher is coming up to complete his 38th lap. The gap was 25 seconds. Has Damon Hill eked out another few tenths and pulled away further from Michael Schumacher, getting towards that magic 28 seconds? Over the line goes Schumacher, and there is activity in the Williams pit. There they are, they're getting ready to receive Damon Hill in. Schumacher has gone through. The gap is exactly the same, because to within 100th of a second, Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher did their 38th lap identically to each other. It's the dominance of these two in Grand Prix racing is superb in 1994 and 1995. Ferrari are ready for Alesi. Williams are ready for Damon Hill. Now here he is climbing up the gradient at Silverstone, turning, and that's Damon Hill. Now I'm pretty sure he's coming in this lap. That is the left-hander. He'll be coming in to this lap, Luffield, and now is he going to turn in? No, he is not. Damon Hill goes through again.
Well, I'm pleased to see Damon Hill go by, because that gives him another few laps to try and extend that advantage over Michael Schumacher for his sake, and that would indicate that the Williams crew are getting ready for David Coulthard's second stop. And so once again we're going to have Alesi and Coulthard, with the way things look, coming in for their second and final stops on exactly the same lap. And when we come up to Damon Hill's pit stop, when Hill comes out of the pit lane, when he comes out of Copse down towards Beckett's, what we see in terms of the gap between Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher is how it will remain for the balance of the race, because neither will have any more pit stops to go. From then on, it's a straight race to the flag.
Meantime, let me bring you up to speed on retirements in the British Grand Prix. Eddie Irvine is out, Pedro Diniz is out, Taki Inui is out, Alesi is coming in, Martin Brundle is out, so are Berger, Hakkinen, Montemini, Katayama, Papis, and there are 15 runners left, and one of them, Jean Alesi, comes in from fourth position, which he's now lost because Coulthard has moved up to fourth. And I can tell you that there is no doubt that it is Damon Hill that the Williams pit are waiting to receive, because their tyres have got DHL written on them. And here is DH Damon Hill going through again, yet again, in. This time Damon, and that will be lap 41. There's only going to be 20 laps left for Damon to do when he comes in, having completed his second stop, and he's now leading Schumacher, who's again matching him second for second by 25 seconds.
So as Williams driver Damon Hill completes his last lap on this stint, this provides the opportunity for David Coulthard to really charge now. He has not got Alesi ahead of him. He can try and pull out the kind of margin, maybe 1 second, 2 seconds, maybe 3 if he's lucky. That means that when Coulthard comes in for his stop, which we now know must be at least 2 away, he's got a very good chance of getting ahead eventually of Jean Alesi.
Damon Hill behind Pierluigi Martini. That was a bad sign, and into the pit lane comes the Benetton of Johnny Herbert from fourth position. And that means to say that Alesi will regain that fourth place. Johnny Herbert well in the points again. He's had a second place in the Benetton this year, taking their time. And Kenny Hankamer sprints away from the front of the Benetton to allow a free track for Johnny Herbert as one of the lapped Pacifics goes through. And this is Damon Hill. And this is the lap that Damon Hill is going to come in on, and this is the pit stop which could decide who wins the British Grand Prix of 1995. We're in with Hill, leading by 25 seconds, or he was when he turned off. That gap is decreasing now because he slows down and stops. Up goes the board that lifts the front of the car. The jack at the back lifts it. In goes the fuel hose. Quiet, keep steady, chaps. Nice one, 11 seconds. Where's Damon? Where is Schumacher? There he is, he's going to take the lead. He's going to pass Damon Hill in the pit lane. Schumacher leads the British Grand Prix. There he is, and Damon Hill is going to rejoin right behind him. We are going into, this is lap 42 in the 61 lap race, and both Schumacher and Damon Hill have had their last pit stops, and they are within sight of each other as Schumacher comes down the hanger straight behind Olivier Panis, who has been lapped. He's in 8th position in the Ligier. The battle is on now for World Championship points, for the World Championship leadership and victory in the British Grand Prix. It's going to be a nail-biting last few laps, and Schumacher really smokes his tire. That may well have flat spotted it and thrown it. There's a few spots of rain. That's the answer. There's a few spots of rain at Stowe. My Jerry Meyer forecast may be coming true, and he's done it again.
I think that's a reflection, not so much of the rain, but of Schumacher knowing he is really under pressure now. He's ahead. Schumacher has the advantage. But both these cars have the same amount of fuel on board now, because they both have to have enough to get to the end of the race. The difference between the cars is that Damon Hill is on brand new tyres, effectively fresh tyres. Schumacher